Hello everyone, I'm Allie Mayo, your wine club coordinator here at DeLoach Vineyards, and I'm sitting with Brian Maloney, our winemaker here as well. We're going to go through the wines that we have selected for the wine club shipments for November of 2014.
Thanks, Allie. So the first wine that we're tasting is our own estate Chardonnay. This is coming from the Biodynamic Estate Vineyard right around DeLoach Vineyards. And what we've done here is we've planted to a couple different selections of Chardonnay. One is the old great heritage selection of Chardonnay. We call it the Old Wente. And it's been the backbone of almost all the tremendous Chardonnays that you've probably ever tasted coming out of California. And then we've brought in two much more smaller, more exclusive selections. One coming out of the University of Dijon called 809 that's incredibly floral and aromatic. And another coming from a very famous vineyard in Burgundy that it's one of those suitcase selections. How it got here is a little bit less known, but it's allegedly from the Montrachet vineyard and just shows incredible crispness and definition. And all three of those selections, starting with the 2012 vintage, have made the way into this wine. It's full barrel fermentation, native yeast, native malolactic fermentation as well, and then lees stirred. And we bottled it unfiltered, I should say. We did find this a little bit with some bentonite clay. That's a traditional fining element that's used in winemaking, but bottled unfiltered. So on the nose, you get those intermixing of barrel spices as well as the fruit characteristics and the floral aromatics that you get from that 809. Just a touch of like an almond flour coming off of there. And then on the palate, you have that balance of luscious fruit and just beautiful acidity carrying all the way through. You'll find this wine will have just a touch of opacity to it. That's because of its unfiltered nature. Nothing to be worried about. That's just a sign that the wine's been handled less and makes for a better tasting bottle that you will have in your cellar. So enjoy.
Hello, we are now tasting our 2011 OFS Pinot Noir.
Now, as many of you longtime members of DeLoach's Wine Club know, OFS is a very special wine for us. It dates back to the early 1980s and Cecil DeLoach, the founder of the winery, wanting to spotlight his very best selections. As this will be viewed by many different people, we're just going to use the polite term, our finest selection for what he was really looking for. But we think this really stands out in lots of different fashions and holds up to its original interpretation for everyone. The 2011 vintage was quite cool. We were lucky enough down in the Sebastopol area to find some great vineyards as the base for this. Some of our single vineyards, the Pinocchio and the Mabaroshi vineyard in particular, really stepped forward in this blend and helped it to give it its backbone and its structure. So it's got that delicious dark berry component to it. But then the grace of those velvety tannins and the way it lingers on your palate without dominating it really speaks to fine quality farming, as well as just the élevage where we let this sit for a little bit longer in the barrel so everything can resolve out nicely. We bottled the 11s a little bit later than some of our previous vintages, with really looking for that tannin to resolve while it was still in the barrel as opposed to in the bottle. So these should be very enjoyable early on in their life, but as well as reward that time period afterwards where you get that bottle bouquet development. Just fantastic wines to let sit back in your cellar for a few years before visiting again as well. So enjoy.
We are now going to taste our 2011 Forgotten Vines Zinfandel.
The Forgotten Vines is a very special wine to me, and a lot of it has to do with my own personal history and just appreciating these old vine vineyards of Zinfandel, really starting back at the beginning of my career and having the opportunity to work with them within my very first vintage at DeLoach, and seeing how these wines develop out has made them one of my favorite to work with year in, year out. Each one of these sites is a unique individual site, and I mean that not only in that terroir is specific, but how it was planted and how it was farmed and how it grew up over the last 80, 90, 100 years, 110 years now in some cases, 120 years now actually in some cases. Makes these, they're relics, they're fossils, they're antiques, they're precious things, and we're able to combine them together in this absolutely delicious bottle of 2011. Beautiful spice, but also some very nice fruit coming in as well. And then just that soft, supple, long feel that you find in almost all the 2011s, making it a really rewarding vintage, I think, for a lot of people who are looking for wines that are delicious at a young age, but also have that structure to age for a little bit longer. And so enjoy, everyone. Cheers.